Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mike and Dane, and we got some automotive news of the week. Got several stories and a couple stories that are actually kind of funny. But
Yeah.
first, I want Dane to tell you this funny story he just told me about taking his baby to a job site. What
Yeah.
happened, Dane?
Yeah. So I got a 5 month old, and wife wasn't able to watch him. She wasn't feeling well. And this is a job that's been going on for a long time that I've been working on. It was a big railing job. And then once that was done, it was like, oh, I got this other little thing, this other little thing. Anyways, I've been trying to get all these little things buttoned up that they've been asking for slowly. So I was like, screw it, I'm just going anyways. Take the kid with me. So I threw him in the car seat, loaded up truck and trailer, away I go. All I got to do is basically pull some concrete anchors out, drop this big platform that I made into place. So I go out, walk into the backside of their house, and bag of tools in one hand and baby and carrier in the other hand. And I don't even get started working. And one of the people come out like, oh my God, you got a baby with you. And they were all kinds of excited. So yeah, as long as I'm sitting there working, he does really good. I'll just watch what I do and rip all those concrete anchors out, drop the platform into place. And the lady that was there was super excited to see him and had all kinds of questions. And yeah, he did really well. So it won't be long, and he's going to be having a wrench in his own hands too.
Hold on, Dane. I got to plug in my laptop.
Yep, no problem.
All right, there we go.
Yeah,
Think
good.
about to shut off.
No, no, yeah, I can't have that.
Oh man. All right. Well, speaking of electrical problems, I want
Hmm.
to present to you the first story of the week. Let's
All
bring it
right,
up.
what do you got for me?
Let me-
Uh
All
oh.
right. Tesla semi fire closes the road for 15 hours and drains 50,000 gallons of water. Dave, did you know about this?
No, this is the first I'm seeing it.
All right. So the NTSB is still investigating the exact cause of the California fire,
Hmm.
but we know more details about what led to it and what it took to extinguish it. So this is a article from Car Scoops. I'll put the link in the description. But
Hmm.
yeah, here's a picture. This was the Tesla electric semi truck.
Hmm.
Looks like this was on eastbound I-80. This
Hmm.
was in California last month. They required, like I said, 50,000 gallons of water to put it out. The cause of the crash are unknown. So I read this article and I'll sum it up for you. It
Hmm.
looks like the driver kind of veered off the road at 3:13 in the morning.
Hmm.
He went to the right and struck two objects. The first was some type of a delineator on a steel post, and the second was a tree just over a foot in diameter. So he hit a tree and a delineator. I don't know, what is that? Is that like the guardrail?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I've not heard that term before, to be honest.
I don't know, but the Tesla hit those things and it rest in front of several other trees, and then the battery fire broke out. That was after the crash and not before.
Hmm.
Once the fire started, man, these electric car batteries fires are
Hmm.
no joke. It took 50,000 gallons of water, and it took about 14 to 15 hours before they could reopen the road. The
Hmm.
fire burned at about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit,
That's
which is
hot.
enough to melt aluminum.
Yep.
That's like that will turn your aluminum engine into liquid.
Hmm.
Goodness gracious! There's let's see, four times the temperature required to cause fourth degree burn. So it will not burn you. You'll just turn into some type of a liquid or paste.
Yeah, dust at that point.
Yeah, you're over if you are near that fire. But so
Yeah.
they said the driver wasn't using any type of automotive driving system, so he didn't have it on autopilot.
Hmm.
So it wasn't the autopilot's fault. I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
just driver error. I mean, he said it was 3 in the morning. Sometimes these guys get their schedule's so crammed that they drive very fatigued, to try and get to load stations on time and whatnot. There's a lot of rules in place. They're supposed to log their miles and hours driven and all that stuff, so that way they can't drive fatigued and tired, but that doesn't always happen.
Mm-mm. So we don't know if he fell asleep or we don't know what happened. But I guess it wasn't the truck's fault. But I don't know, man. That
Still, to have a crash and then have these massive battery fires, there's got to be a safer way to either mount these batteries or store them or contain them so these kind of things don't happen, right? I mean, how many times a car crash in a day? There's probably 100 car crashes in the United States in a day or more.
yeah,
Not all of them are lighting on fire, right? And they got a big tank of fuel.
yeah.
So yeah, and then I think the fire department's got to take special precautions too with these electric vehicles as well, because I
Oh
think
yeah, they you're
spraying with
right.
water it can make them worse, right?
Um I think they do put water on it, but it's not like a grease fire where that'll make it worse. But I think they have to use special suits
Yeah,
when
because
they
it can cause the batteries to explode, be more violent. I forget all the details, but I remember hearing and reading something about it that it's a bad deal. So sometimes on a car, they're not sure it's a electric car or not. It can cause problems because you got to treat the two differently.
yeah, let's see, they doused the area around this blaze with fire retardant to keep it from spreading.
Mm-hmm.
Da, da, da. Let's see, any other info? No, I don't know. I heard they had to use hazmat suits.
Yeah.
So let's look at the comments. This one guy says, environmentally friendly, LOL.
Right.
Oh boy. So this guy says 15 hours is not that unusual for a semi truck wreck. I had a 14-hour crash last month. Conventional truck rolled over and took out about 200 feet of
Mhm.
guardrail, spilled all their diesel. We needed two large wreckers, a rotator, a semi truck with a dump trailer, a semi truck with a skid steer, 100 bags of oil dry just to
Mhm.
get the road passable. All right. So looks like he's saying the regular truck could have this amount of time as well. I don't know if it'll need
Yeah,
that much water though.
you're right. I don't think the time is the thing that we're focusing on here. I mean, anytime there's a semi wreck, it's just going to be a lot of time to clean up afterwards, especially if there's the load has been spilled too. Really, I think the issue is here is the major fire, the water it took, which 50,000 gallons sounds like a lot, and it is.
All right. See
Eh,
this picture, Dane? This guy
yeah,
says that's how much 50,000 gallons of water is.
it's a significant amount. They probably had to pump or bring multiple trucks in to do it, and I'm guessing a lot of that too was for the putting out the forest fire that it started, right? Not just the truck itself.
It started a forest fire? It didn't say that.
Yeah, didn't you see all the woods on fire right next to it in that picture?
Oh, it was?
Yeah, go back to the top. You can see all the trees on fire.
Uh, I don't know. Are they
Going
on
up,
fire or is it just dark?
keep going up.
Let's see.
Looks like the
Oh,
trees are on
that's
fire right there.
maybe.
Yeah,
What about this picture though? This picture.
it doesn't look terrible right there. That's probably a lot of it's probably containment too. So just putting water on these like lithium ion battery fires isn't going to put it out. So they're like containing all the stuff around it, right? And so these fire hoses aren't the most accurate pieces of equipment. They're just dumping and dumping and dumping, right? They're not putting on the least amount possible to contain. They're just dumping. So that's where a lot of that water comes from too.
Ah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Sometimes I feel like electric vehicles, they should stick to smaller, like just cars and small
Mhm.
pickup trucks.
Yeah.
I don't know why they need to be so big. It seemed like diesel is a better solution for big semis. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's the best thing we have right now. For these people that want to have a fully electric semi, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And this is the somewhere. So improvements will be made over time if they continue to develop this technology. But right, it's not the most efficient thing to be using right now.
Let's see. This guy in the comments said, "How many gallons of water would it take to physically put out an engulfed diesel engined semi?"
I
And
don't
this
know,
guy
man.
says,
How long is a piece of string?
"How long's a piece of string?"
Right. It depends how much fuel's on board. It depends what the load is carrying. There's so many things that you know take into play here.
All right. So this guy claims the Austin Fire Department Division Chief, Mr. Smith, said, "Normally a car fire you can put out with 50 to 1,000 gallons of water, but Teslas may take 30 to 40,000 gallons, maybe even more, to extinguish the battery pack once it starts burning." Oh man.
I'd like to see those, like in a controlled environment, how long it would take to put out a battery fire with no water, just letting it burn out, versus dumping water on it. My assumption here, from the little bit that I know, is that the water doesn't really put the battery fire out. It just contains it from getting worse and spreading to other things. So I
Well,
think
I
that's
know
why it takes so long.
yeah, that might be important to do, because if you didn't do that, this
Hmm.
fire might burn for 2, 3 days. Like, uh, I recently took ASE test for electrical vehicle
Hmm.
safety, and they're saying that when a wrecked EV comes into the shop, even if the fire's out, you shouldn't bring it into the shop immediately. You should leave it like 50 or 100 feet away from the shop, because
Right,
it could spark on fire again,
right,
even long time later after the
right. 'Cause there's
fire's
so much
out.
heat there, right? All that heat can start again. It doesn't need an actual like ignition source. The heat itself can be its own ignition source.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I don't know. It's crazy, man. Let's go to the next story.
Sounds good. But yeah, that
Uh,
sounds like nuclear fusion. Once you start it, you can't stop it.
let me see. Where is the next story? Tesla. Go back. I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. Oh boy, I messed up my thing. All right, I gotta bring the link up again. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
Dane, tell us your about your business while I'm looking this up. How is your business going?
It's not too bad. I just finished that big project I was mentioning about. They
Yeah.
were putting in a sport court worth, I don't know, crazy amounts of money. But I just finished that. Got a couple other small things done. I just finished a table project for a customer, custom frame, and table legs, all that good stuff. They've got some lettering too that they want me to do, so I'm buttoning that stuff up right now. I've got a truck that has been a giant pain that I'm finally finishing too. It's done as far as I can take it. It's at the point now where it needs tuning, and so working on getting it into the hands of a tuner as soon as possible. Maybe today, hopefully.
You don't tune it yourself?
I have not messed with it. I've downloaded software before. I can kind of do some data logging and some of that stuff. I just haven't spent a lot of time learning how to do the fine tuning of the fuel system. Getting your ignition timing, injector right, calibrating your map sensor, all that good stuff that needs to be done to
Well,
really dial in.
you need a dyno to do that, right?
You can do it on the road, but you can do it on the dyno as well. Dynos are better for real, your peak horsepower numbers. When it comes to good drivability, so your tip in and throttle response is really good. It's almost better to do on the road, so you have a more realistic load and kind of experience, right? And
Yeah.
that's where it's at now. I can start the truck, I can keep it running with foot on brake, foot on gas, and move it around a little bit, but it's not ideal. We still got to get the idle dialed in, and then
Mm.
make a few pulls with it, make sure it's clean all the way through the full sweep and different load ranges. And then from there, you can do some other fine tuning too, right? So like at cruising speeds, you can kind of change your air fuel ratio mixture to leaner for better fuel economy. So there's a lot of little things that need to be done. It'll take a day's worth of work for somebody.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I wanted to show you this tool I saw on
mhm.
Instagram. No,
Sure.
these people aren't sponsoring me, but I thought this was a really cool thing. I just wanted to show you, Dane.
All right. Bring it up.
Yeah, let me control plus. So, I'm sure, Dane,
Oh,
you have tried to remove
mhm.
diesel injectors before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is a slide hammer for removing injectors.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I've removed more injectors than I care to count. We're probably talking thousands.
Let's see. It's supposed to move. There you go. Look at this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you seen this before?
Not this one, like a mechanical slide hammer, right? So you've got a rod, and then you've got like a weight on it, and you just pop, pop, and you keep popping up with your hand. But that pneumatic one's pretty neat. You don't
Yeah,
have to like slide or bang with it at all.
that looks so cool, man. I like the idea of pneumatic sliders in general. This is pretty good. This is like a German tool.
Hmm.
It's by Mr. Who is this? No, this is by I don't know. Has that? It's
Has
some
it?
kind of German company, but
Mhm.
yeah. Well, you don't have
That's
to
pretty
buy it. I
cool.
just wanted to show you.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, the only thing we've used too, I'm not sure if you remember these or not from when we used to work at Fuel Systems, was like you call them a crow's foot or a lady's foot. So it's got a long rod as a lever, and at the end it does like a little J hook back up.
Yeah,
And so you
I
can,
know Ladyfoot.
yeah, yeah, so you kind of stick that underneath, and then as it curls back, you can kind of pop and get some leverage. So we've used those two a lot to knock injectors out as well.
Yeah,
They're held down really tight, but they got to be, right, because they're super high pressure systems.
yeah. So anyway, this is Dane's story that he wanted to talk to us about.
Yeah,
Dane,
I
could
shared. Yeah, I got caught by the headline here, right? So I saw this headline. I was like, "Whoa, what the heck's going on here?" So, GM to white collar workers. The message is, we got to get rid of this ad. Get with the EV program, or you are out. And I was like, "Oh man, did Mary Barra like throw out a, some sort of PR campaign to getting people, kicked into shape?" Well, as you start going down, you read that a inside informant had reached out to the Detroit Free Press and was kind of leaking some inside information on things that were changing internally. So, as what you're coming up here, some of those changes that they're bringing in place are, let's just hold it right there for a minute. One, an announcement to move and downsize its global headquarters. Two, changing how it evaluates salaried employees' performance. Revising the metrics by which it determines of bonuses is number three. And four, revoking some more employees' full-time remote privileges. And so as you start to read this, you realize GM's in the same, financial trouble as everyone else. Not really that so much that it's trouble, but the economy is getting soft right now. People aren't buying as much. So when sales are down, things need to happen internally to keep the shareholder value high. And so one of the first things to happen is cost cutting. And so what a lot of this is cost cutting and employee cost cutting, right? So moving the global headquarters, I'm guessing that means overseas. We've seen stuff like this before, right, MJ? You move some of these like accountant jobs, maybe, or marketing jobs, or some of the like global supply chain positions into India, into China, into Mexico, into these other positions where they can reduce costs, right?
Dane, I thought they were talking when they said that. I
Mhm.
think they're talking about their headquarters is in the Renaissance Center.
Yep,
You
yep,
ever
been
see GM pictures? They have like this giant building that kind of goes straight up, and there's
yep,
like I think there's two of them right next to it. It looks like a cylinder almost. I
yep,
think they're just moving their headquarters out of that building into like a
right.
smaller building, like in the Detroit area. That's because I saw a story about that a little while ago.
Yeah,
So maybe,
but they're reducing headcount too.
well, yeah, that too. But
Yep. Yeah, so it's all right. That's all kind of wrapped up into there. And then as you read through, this person's kind of saying is one of the message internally because they've already offered buyouts, which are getting expensive. The other thing that was kind of a threat internally, it seemed like, was if you're not on board with doing more full EV programs, there's the door.
yeah,
And it's kind of a harsh thing to say because they might lose out on some good talent. And I'm sure anybody that's listening, you and I, we've all worked on projects that we're not fans of. So I'm sure there's, tension inside those doors like, man, this job I'm working on is really stupid. It's never going to go anywhere. It's hard to be motivated if you don't believe in the product you're working on.
hmm
So it's kind of the message internally is like, we don't care what you think. Get on board or get out. But
do your job.
right. And we know that, again, we've gone through this kind of thing in the past. most people aren't going to quit their job, even though they say they're going to. They're just
There are
going to,
people,
huh?
yeah, all these buyouts, most of these people,
Yeah,
I know sometimes the engineers, they feel like, man, if they fired me, I'd be happy. But,
right.
and like even one of my friends at Cummins feels the same way right now,
Hmm.
but he's not going to actually quit because they pay you so much money. It's almost what they call golden handcuffs.
Yeah,
So they're not, most people aren't going to take a buyout unless they're like older and they just want to retire. Most people are just going to make you fire them basically, or lay them off, whatever you want to call it. But
exactly. Yeah, they're going to
they
make you
won't be
come
too
back
mad
morning.
usually.
Yeah, no, well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's like, yeah, I hope they fire me, and then they get their laid off with paid severance, and they're like, man, screw that company because I'm all mad. I'm like, well, you wanted to leave a week ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, people get kind of complacent. They get stuck in their ways and say they talk a lot. But a lot of people don't actually leave when they have the opportunity to take these checks. So they just say, okay, I'll just do the thing, even though I don't want to. And then that's what bleeds out to making not a great product. So
Yeah. So
it's tough position to be in when you got a company that's that size. But that's a lot of what this article ends up being is they're in, the same financial heartsakes that everyone else is in. So they're starting to make a lot of cost cutting changes. And so a lot of those things, of course, cost cutting wise, affect the employees, especially on the middle. It doesn't necessarily affect the people in manufacturing. They might get temporary layoffs as things slow down, but they usually get paid or can collect unemployment. The people in the middle in those white collar jobs, they just get dumped. Go find a
yeah.
job somewhere else. Maybe here's a check for a few months worth of pay.
Yeah.
So not
Well,
looking good. I'm guessing more of this is going to be coming in the next few months.
all right. Well, we're gonna hope that GM handles this well.
Hmm.
Um, we are going to see what happens. Hopefully, they'll handle it better than Dodge and Chrysler right now.
Yeah, they're not nearly as bad of a position as Stellantis. And yeah, it'd be good for Dodge and Chrysler if they were able to go independent and get out of the grips of Stellantis. But I think that Dodge and Chrysler are the biggest money makers and Jeep for Stellantis. So why would you ditch your best players? I think that's what's keeping that company afloat right now.
That's right. All right, so let's see. We got a question from the audience, Dane.
Sure.
We have to answer the question from the audience.
Hmm.
Hold on. Choose what to share. Hold on, let me do something. All right, so this is going to be the next story, but first we're going to answer a question from
Sure.
Bella. She says she lives in Cleveland, Ohio. How do I go about choosing a commercial car wash for salt removal during winter? So she asked me a question in the comments. She wanted to
Hmm.
see if she could go to or get somebody in Arizona to
Hmm.
buy a vehicle for her
Okay.
because there's less rust over there.
Yep.
And I don't know. That seems like a tricky thing to do. I don't want to trust somebody all the way in Arizona to do that for me. Like I know some of us have
Hmm.
even thought about picking out a car in Arizona and then driving to go get it, or
Yep.
take a plane to go get it and then drive it
Yep.
home. I mean, that's
Yep.
something you might be able to do if you sent like a mobile mechanic out to go look at it for you first to make sure it's
Yep.
safe to drive. So you could do that. But then I was saying, well, I mean, she lives in Ohio. You could just try to get a car maybe a little bit south, like in Kentucky or
Hmm.
Tennessee, if you're so worried about that. But also, like, I know somebody that works in the car wash industry, and he's a executive, so he gets a free uh, membership at the car wash. Like you could pay $20 or $30 a month, and you could use the car wash as much as you want.
Yep.
So he gets that for free, and he takes his 2017 Toyota Sequoia. Like he washes it. He gets it washed like every week.
Yep.
And I looked under it, and it is dated. It's the cleanest thing you ever saw.
Good.
Barely any rust anywhere. Like there's a couple small places of rust on the other parts of the car, like
Hmm.
under the keyhole near the tailgate, like a little bit, but underneath it looks almost brand new. He says his mechanics were like, "What did you do to this car?" He's like, "I didn't do nothing." And
Yeah.
even the car wash that he goes to,
Hmm.
they don't even have that undercarriage package. Like
Right.
some places will have an undercarriage spray that they spray up on there.
Yep.
There's like a little bit of oil in those things so that
It's like a rubberized
salt won't
coating.
stick to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not rubber, but it's like I think it's oil or something. But yeah, he doesn't even do that. So what she's asking is, how do you choose a good commercial car wash? I would say you just kind of look at the reviews,
Hmm.
see the car washes that are really busy all the time, because
Hmm.
usually they have people in the area go to the car wash and they know who's the best car wash. So
Yep.
usually if you see a line a lot, that's a good sign. When you go through the car wash, I have a little bit of experience working on car washes. Like towards the end, there will be something called a final rinse, which
Yep.
is just water coming out like on
Mhm.
both sides, and it might go up and down or left and right across the top. Make sure that you can't really make sure, but see if it looks like real weak, or
Mhm.
if like one side is coming on and the other side isn't, then you know that their equipment is not in a good state of repair.
Yep.
But if you are going through the car wash and everything looks like it's coming out on both sides, it doesn't look super watery like the detergent part where they have the colors that come to both sides or the wax
Mhm.
that comes down. You could just kind of see if it looks like if it's kind of coming out all
Mhm.
watery, or if there's like a bar on top of you and
Yep.
like half the bar is coming out and half isn't, and the bar's probably clogged up. So you could kind of look at it as you're going through it. If you big
Yep.
final rinse, it should be fine. That should be
Yep.
enough.
Well, I got a little insight here too because I spent a short period of time in the research and engineering side of things for Hydroflex, which develops a lot of car wash chemical displacement systems. And one of the major things I would look at if you were worried about salt removal and rust is one, does this place have a good underbody blast that you can drive over and blast the undercarriage? That's where a lot of that rust is going to start from, anyways. And then two, do they use reclaimed water? And so a reclaimed water system is any water that comes out of the nozzles or jets, goes back down into a drain underneath, goes through kind of a filtration system, and then gets reused again. So they're just constantly recycling the water that goes through. There's still a lot of contaminants in that recycled water, and it's really disgusting. And that can cause a lot of rapid or accelerated corrosion as well. So while it's more expensive and maybe not as economical, a car wash that does not use reclaimed water, they're using fresh water for all of the rinsing, is way, way, way better. So I would find a place that has that. And then, as you know, MJ kind of hit on too, a lot of these places also have like monthly memberships where you can basically pay for an unlimited amount.
Yeah, get
Uh,
the monthly membership.
yeah, get that. It's worth it if you're going to use it more than 4 times a month. In which in the wintertime, if the roads are constantly crappy and you want to go every other day, which
Yeah,
I
go.
did when I first moved to Minnesota, I had to sell all my vehicles except for one truck, and it was like mint condition, low miles. I did not want to drive on the salty roads, but I was left with no other option. We were, stuck in a little place. I couldn't have a beater car and a nice car, so I just kept my nice truck. And so I bought at the holiday gas stations up here um, the monthly thing. It was like $30 or $40, and I every day on my way home from work, I washed that truck in the wintertime. I
Yeah.
used the crap out of it, and it kept it clean, and they didn't use reclaimed water. All that stuff helps.
Uh, I'm gonna ask my friend
Hmm.
if the wash that he goes to uses reclaimed water. I think they do, but I'm gonna double check. Well,
Yeah, it's expensive to
I
put a
mean,
reclaimed in, so some do, some don't.
and plus a
But
reclaimed water, if the filtration system on that reclaimed water isn't so bad, it'd probably be all right.
well, you've been on the backside of those places, right, and seen like the chemical handling and all that stuff. A lot of the maintenance there isn't done on time or at all. So
Well,
I
like I said,
wouldn't.
it depends on the
Yeah,
car wash. I know some car washes. I
mhm,
have so I would go to car washes and inspect them.
yeah,
And there were certain chains I would go to, and They were terrible. And I would write a report every
Mhm.
month, and the same stuff will always be broken. The
Yep.
managers would not they would not even change the chemicals. I
Yep.
would have the chemicals out there in
Mhm.
right next to it, and it would go empty, and they couldn't even be bothered to take the the line up,
Yep.
move it, and put it in the new chemical.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, or where chemicals aren't displaced at all, or not enough chemicals displaced at all. Yeah, it costs them very little to run a car through a wash. They're making huge, huge, huge margins.
It's like a dollar, is it, or it might be 60 cents to like a dollar and
Usually
20
less than $1 is what it
worth of
costs them
chemicals.
to run your
Yeah,
car through. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it depend on the package, but yeah.
That's
So
a lot of inside baseball here. Let's we can give her some options. So like I talked with the one of the executives and the main technical guy for Mike's Car Wash, and they've got branches or washes all over, like Indiana and again to Ohio and Michigan. And so if and that guy, the technical guy that sets up all the places, is super, super, super detailed. He's been doing it for like 30 some years. When Hydroflex was developing the chemical replacement systems for them, he was very specific on what he wanted. So very, very good control through all of the Mike's car washes and crew car washes. So if you have one of those in
yeah.
your area, I'd recommend them.
Then
As
guess what? Then guess what?
what?
The my friend, he goes to Crew.
Oh, is that the one he uses?
Yep.
Yeah, they're probably
They
they're the
are
best.
amazing.
They're really good. There's a Mister, which is another chain that's up here in Minnesota. I'm not sure if they go very far outside of this region, but they do really well too. I've seen the inside of those as well. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the points.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that the final rinse is good. The underbody. No, we're not sure on the reclaimed water one. I don't. We get back to you on that.
Stay
I'll
away
ask.
from the reclaimed water. I've done testing on it. You
I'll
don't want the
ask.
reclaimed water.
Well, if the reclaimed water worked, or my friend's
Yep.
what's the face Sequoia,
Yeah.
I'll ask. They will. We're arguing about this, Bello. I'll let you know in the comments. I'll ask my friend about
Yeah.
his, because his Sequoia is an actual example.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, and one other thing before we move on is you see the managers, and they look like I don't know, because the place that I didn't like,
Mm-hmm.
that was really terrible, which we actually stopped working with them, is
Yeah.
whenever I go, there'll be a new manager, and they looked like they were either straight out of high school or straight out of prison. So
There's a
they
lot
look
of that.
like a jamoke or just like a young kid. And oh man, like look for a good manager, very professional, good smile. That's what Mike and Cruz have.
Yeah.
Yeah, see about that. The people that work there.
Yeah, dude. Like the guy that I was talking to, the one that sets these things up for however long, Um, he has a whole rating system for every component, and he rates a car as at a certain rating before it comes in and when it leaves. And he's got a scale that needs to hit all these checkpoints when he's setting these things up. They go through
Yeah,
annual schedules. They're the only place I've seen that does anything remotely close to what they do. So I hope you have one in your area, and if you do, I would send them my business.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what we got about that. Let's look at this. She says she has a friend who works at GM, and the kind of stories I hear are outrageous.
I
Yeah,
believe it. I have friends there
any
too.
well, any company, it's like when you hear the inside news, like it's going to be very different from what you see on the outside. The same thing, even at like Toyota, I could tell you a couple stories, but in general, Toyota was very professional on the inside. But when you're on
Yeah.
the inside, you see stuff that you don't see on the outside.
Yeah, I remember when I was first starting to like dip my toes into the career stuff after getting out of college, and I was talking about some financial stuff with my uncle. He was the CEO of Farm Credit Services, so very financially savvy. And I was telling him how excited I am to start, a new job at wherever it was at the time, and about all the perks, things that they offer. And he's like, "That's all great. Just remember, every company has their ugly." And I didn't know what he meant at the time, but it didn't take long after I left said company, went to another, left said company, went to another to realize, oh yeah, everything's always hype when you start, but then all the darkness starts to come out. They all have their issues.
Yeah,
So
everybody's got their issues on the inside.
especially the bigger the company, the more the problems. almost
It's kind
always.
of like if you know a family on your block and they look
Yeah,
like the perfect family and they're always happy in their Facebook photos, but if you saw them inside their house, you'd see the arguments, you'd
yeah.
see the not so nice things, but you just look at everything as a whole,
Exactly. There's always the darkness inside of those places, but you try to focus on the good things that they do if you can. They've
Yeah,
all got their bad. They're I don't know. I don't want to dog anybody too bad, but everybody's got their quirks.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the next story. This is from The Drive. Caterpillar is secretly building parts for its rumored pickup truck, according to a source. Dane, did you know about this? People are saying there are rumors that Caterpillar is going to make a pickup truck. This is
I like it.
crazy.
This
You
is
like it?
crazy. Yeah. So years ago, give people some more background here in the Caterpillar market in general. Caterpillar, people probably know as like the dump truck you just showed, excavators, big giant pieces of equipment. Well, they're mostly their own OEM or their own OE when it comes to engines. So they build their own engines, they build all their own equipment, but a big chunk of their business was also selling engines to over the road trucks like your semis or your day cab pickups and like generators. And when emission standards started to really crack down, and I forget what tier it was, tier two or tier three or something that started to hit in 07, 08, the technologies that Caterpillar was using wasn't going to get them to those emission standards. So they backed out of over the road market altogether. And they've been out of the over the road market now for almost 20 years. It's, at the rate that it's been going. So it sounds like they've, in that time now, have come up with technologies to get back into the over the road market and might even be making their own pickup truck, which is a first for them. They never made their own pickup truck. They've made a lot of their own other equipment. So
Yeah,
this is neat.
so go ahead.
No, that's all I got. So that's just neat. It's kind of exciting to hear that there's going to be a new player in the diesel truck game.
All right. Well, we're not sure. We're not
Hmm.
sure, but this is rumorville right now. So in response to a story they had a few weeks ago, no, Caterpillar is not making a pickup truck. The blog itself was a response to a viral TikTok and YouTube videos claiming the company's foray into passenger vehicles has been confirmed with AI generated images and a bunch of made up specs poorly supporting the case. So they think it's more likely than not that they're not going to make it. But a Caterpillar employee who is asked to remain anonymous tipped us off with the following. They're saying the images were definitely AI generated. As far as I know, there have been no mock up designs made for this vehicle, but I can confirm that we have begun to make the engine liners for the proposed trucks already. Oh my gosh, Dane. This
Yeah.
is
So
outrageous.
it is. So whether this is AI generated or not, even if it is, if Caterpillar is making a pickup truck, and they're not going to tell you until it's close to ready. And
Yeah.
even when they're testing full-fledged vehicles, I know you've seen this too. Think about when before the Raptor Ford pickup was released. Like there was the camo images. You could see the giant shocks and the bigger tires. And what is Ford doing? It looks like Ford's building an off-road, racing pickup. And Ford would be like, we are doing no such thing. That doesn't
Mhm.
exist. What you're seeing is fake. And then like however many weeks or months later, hey, check out this off-road desert racing pickup we built. So they're never going to tell you or spill the beans ahead of time, but hearing the confirmation that they are building an engine for pickup trucks is pretty exciting.
I could tell you, I've worked on some projects that were maybe that were like you think they're just about to come out, and sometimes they get right to the end and then they decide right at the end not to come out with stuff, and
Yeah.
sometimes it is the result of EPA test. Like if they don't pass
Hmm.
the tests, then they're going to have to buy credits, and then they might say, oh, we don't want to buy the credits, just forget about the whole project. So all that work sometimes never comes around, but sometimes it does. So we will see. We
That's
will
true.
see.
And sometimes they do weird things for testing too, right? Sometimes they throw engines that they know aren't going to be in a vehicle just to test them and see what they'll do too. So and just to get miles on them and laps and whatnot. We know we did that a lot at Cummins, where you'd throw engines in older vehicles or engines in something else and run them around town just to get miles and hours on them as well. So there's a lot of
Yeah,
things that keep going on.
that's true. Let's look at the comments. This guy says, let's put it this way. It takes a heck of a lot more sense for Cat to build HD pickup trucks than it does for Apple to build cars. It's on brand and they have all needed competencies. I agree with that, sir.
100%.
This guy says, I laughed very hard daydreaming about Cat announcing their latest venture into phones and tablets. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Cat making a pickup truck, like they already make engines, as long as they could get the emissions systems right, which is not easy, by the way. But if they can
Nope.
get that part right, um, I mean, how hard is it to make a body on frame um, vehicle? I mean, it's not that hard. Or they
Yeah,
could even they might be
there's
able to
maybe
pay another company to use their frame and body. Who knows?
it's possible. There's a lot of options there. It's something they have a lot of experience with on the manufacturing side because they build big pieces of equipment. But yeah, like truck bodies aren't really something that they've done, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't do, right? They build bodies for other things, but they're usually thicker gauge steel, more industrial, kind of like this. Think skid loaders, that kind of stuff. So they have experience though with controls and electronics, right? Because these
Mhm.
things might look like a big brute, but inside there's all kinds of computers, knob switches, different electronic controls, gauges, monitoring systems. There's a lot of technology going on there. So they're very capable of executing that at a very high level. It's just the fit and finish of maybe an interior that you'd question, but Caterpillar's a huge company. They've got a lot of dollars at their disposal for development purposes. I think they would be just fine.
Yeah. But you know what else they could be doing? They could be making an engine and then try to sell it to an OEM.
Hmm.
Like if they could, because all they got to do is get the emissions right. Like if
Right.
they could sell a diesel engine to, let's say, maybe Nissan
Hmm.
or Honda or somebody like that, um, they might be all right. Or I don't know, maybe they're going to try to take Cummins away from being associated with Dodge.
Well,
That
there's
would be a coup
been,
de grace, wouldn't it?
I tell you what, every time that there's the contract is up or has ended with Stellantis or Chrysler, whoever owns, the Dodge Ram brand at the time, the talks that we'd always hear back inside of Cummins was it's not going to get renewed. Like this is going to be the end of it. They're not going to renew. It's going to be the end of Cummins and Dodge. But they keep renewing. But Caterpillar used to be the number one competitor to Cummins for over the road engines. And when they backed out of that market, Cummins has had the lion's share. No one else competes basically in their space. But if Caterpillar wants to come back in and say, hey, Stellantis, I got something for you, it might even cost you a little less. We also don't
Yeah,
have the same problems that Cummins may have had in the past. It could look real bad for the big C and could put the cat back in the spotlight.
yeah, and because Stellantis is always trying to save money. They're
Yeah.
sending their engineers to other countries. They're laying people off. Maybe they would try to save money by switching from Cummins to Caterpillar in their heavy duty truck series. What do you think?
The diesel world would be flipped on its head. I mean,
Oh
the
my
the,
gosh.
Caterpillar, the Caterpillar Cummins rivalry is as strong or stronger than the Chevy Ford rivalry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy.
So we'll see. Passing those emission tests is hard, Caterpillar. So I think that's where your challenge is, not in the engines. But we'll see what happens. Dave, this truck on the screen right here.
Yep.
I actually saw one of these in person
Hmm.
uh, when I was a service engineer at Cummins. One of my engines was in a mine. It
Hmm.
wasn't in this, but it was in a drill.
Yeah.
So I went to the mine and I saw one of these things. this thing is enormous.
Yeah. So
This is the
like for
biggest vehicle
perspective,
I've ever seen in my life.
yeah. So like perspective for people, if you were to stand next to this, your head would come up to about to where the bottom of the rim is.
Yeah, you'd be like right here.
Yeah.
And I,
Like
I was like right here. It's like,
yeah. I can't see your mouse, but I'm guessing about the bottom of the rim, right?
yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. They're so massive.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
But
mean,
but
just look
yeah,
at the steps. The steps give you an idea how tall they are.
even the drill that I was in charge of, that thing was giant, but it was like nothing compared to this thing.
Right.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go to the next story. Let's see. So, Dane, what would you rather have in your Silverado, the Duramax or a Caterpillar engine? What do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, I guess I need to see the what the Caterpillar engine has to offer. I'm very familiar with the Duramax. I do own one.
Yeah.
And in stock form, it's like 400 horsepower, 900 foot-pounds of torque. It's an awesome package. The Caterpillar engines are typically inline engines, similar to a Cummins, so an inline six. So you're talking a higher torque engine potentially, maybe a little less horsepower. Um, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against it. I've never been a Caterpillar hater, so I'd be very interested to see what they come out with to see if that's really a viable option. But I wouldn't shake stick at it if that's what's offered in the future.
All right. All right, Dane, I want you to see this thing.
Yep.
Look at this. This Jeep is going up a hill
Yep.
and he
It
got
looks like
stuck. And then I think his transmission broke. And
something
look,
broke.
he's falling down.
Yeah. Oh no.
Ah!
That guy in that green Jeep got so lucky he didn't get
Well,
smashed.
this red guy ain't gonna be lucky.
Oh, this guy's pissed.
Oh
Fire.
no.
Oh, it sucks.
Oh man.
Yeah, he
So
broke something.
Dave, did you ever go to something like that?
No, it looks like they were out at Moab. I've gone to stuff in the like southeast. I think like in Appalachia, like Tennessee, Kentucky, those kind of places. So more mud and rocks and steep hills and trenches and whatnot. And a lot of times it's just boozing and having a good time. I've never
All
been to
right.
the big rock crawly stuff out west like they were, but it looks all right.
All right. So all right, let's get back to the being on the road.
Hmm.
This is a story from The Drive. A stock Toyota Prius breaks the miles per gallon record for cross-country driving. So this is a hypermiler,
Hmm.
and he got his 2023 Prius to hit just over 93 miles per gallon combined on a drive across America. This is wow. This is let's see, one of the newest. This is the 2023 Prius. So that's the new one. And he's been inducted into the Guinness Book of World Records. This is Wayne Gerdes. He drove the latest Prius LE model from sea to shining sea across the United States. 93 miles per gallon average, 3,200 miles. Oh my gosh, Dane, did you ever expect this to happen to a Prius? I know I would. I'll tell you why, but what do you think?
And my initial thought is this sounds extremely slow and boring.
What?
Yeah, I'm
How
not. I
dare
don't know.
you?
This isn't something I'm interested in. But
All right.
I'd be more interested to see how fast you can do it. These guys that are cannonballers. But anyways, what did it say? Can we just get to like his driving techniques and driving habits? Like what helped him get to that kind of economy? Because the average person's probably not going to get that, right?
Let's see. So Dane,
Yep.
first of all, this is very exciting. I don't know why you said that, but um, I'll tell you, when I was an engineer at Toyota, I
Hmm.
was in charge of like 4 Priuses, and they were my favorite vehicle to
Hmm.
test. That powertrain is so bulletproof. I mean, I think you it's like the Matrix when Neo just holds his hands up to all the bullets and they just drop. Like
Yeah.
that's how strong the powertrain is in the Prius as far as reliability. Now, it's not going to be the fastest
Right.
car on the road. It's not going to go up a mountain like
Hmm.
that Jeep. But you know what? Getting the most miles per gallon is an amazing feat of engineering. Now,
Hmm.
I would tell you some of the things that these hypermilers do is one, they'll and which I don't recommend, by the way, but they'll increase the psi in the tires
Yep.
more than they're supposed to be, which is not really safe. So I wouldn't say do that. But yeah, they do stuff like that. They'll try to hold it at a certain speed as long as possible.
Yep.
They'll just
Usually.
be real easy. They say you could drive it like as if there were an egg in between your foot and the accelerator, and you don't want to
Mhm.
crush the egg.
Right.
So very easy on the accelerator, get it up to a certain speed, put it in cruise, and just sit back. And they're probably not turning on the air conditioning, stuff like that.
Yeah, they do a lot of things right. They'll tape like across like the radiator vents and stuff like that to reduce airflow inside and reduce drag. They'll tape the body lines. They'll put like smoothies covers over the wheels to reduce drag. They'll get the vehicle a little bit low. There's so many like little things that they do right to just improve efficiency that might not be good for your everyday driving, but to go
All
for
right.
a record, you got to do a lot of crazy stuff.
Okay, so he said the hypermiler says that his practical tips for anyone looking to stretch their miles include taking off from complete stops slowly, maintaining even pressure on the accelerator pedal as you drive, and easing off the pedal early when a stop is ahead, gracefully gliding until the car is static. See, that's what I was saying about
Mhm.
putting an egg, pretend there's an egg on your foot. And that is actually how I drive.
Yeah.
But so these are all good tips as far as the article says. But yeah, and I will tell you for these Priuses and
Hmm.
even the I think of Kerf Keels, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a YouTuber. He
Hmm.
recently did he was testing, well, just they give him, he's a famous YouTuber, so they'll give him a new car and they'll say drive it for a week. So he was
Hmm.
driving around the new Camry, which is all hybrids now,
Hmm.
and is a similar powertrain to the Prius. He was
Hmm.
saying the miles per gallon he got was more than what is listed on the tag,
Okay. Nice.
and I noticed that too when we were testing Prius. We logged like everything, all the miles, all the every time you filled it up. So we had specific numbers on the miles per gallon, and it was higher than what it says on the thing. And that's if you drive it, drive it nice and easy. That's how our drivers would drive them back then. They
Hmm.
wouldn't like they're driving on public roads, so they have to follow all of the laws. But yeah, they just drive them nice and easy, and you
Hmm.
will exceed the miles per gallon on. I believe you will anyway, even
Hmm.
without filling up the tires too much.
Right.
So there you go. Let's look in the comments. Let's see. I'm guessing since it's Guinness certified that it isn't modified in any way, which, if true, is pretty amazing. From the photos, it looks like it's all stock and the interior isn't gutted. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you,
Yep.
commenter. I don't think they put any tape on there. So
Yep.
this guy says these hybrids are the sane future of electrification that we need. Yes, exactly. I agree with you, Santa Barbarian.
Hmm.
That is what I totally agree with you about. And this, I don't even think that's the Prius Prime, which has a larger battery and can drive in electric mode for longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the hybrids. Dane wants to drive like a maniac. He doesn't want one, but his parents bought a RAV4.
Yeah. It's a nice car.
Yeah, so a little bit different for everybody. Let's
Yep.
go to the next story. Let's see what did we want to talk about next.
Yeah. What do you got for me? I got one more in me.
You got one more, all right.
Yep.
Oh well, actually, I got a couple funny. We'll just do funny ones for now.
Sure.
All right. They bring up something funny. Dane's got to watch his baby again before he escapes.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Where is it? All right. So this guy, he was getting this on Motor Biscuit.
Oh man.
Somebody tried to tow his car, and then he called himself stealing the tow truck.
Oh.
Hold on, let me turn the sound off.
Yeah.
I don't want him to copyright claim me.
Oh. This truck in the car. Holy cow.
Stole my truck. That's crazy. Call the police, man.
What the heck?
Did you see that he stole it and then he broke a whole bunch of other cars driving away?
Dude. So the guy driving the tow truck owned that black truck too?
No, it was a regular repo, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha. He's repossessing.
And the guy
it.
that's getting his car repossessed fights the tow truck driver and steals the tow truck with his truck attached to it.
Yeah. And then
he don't know how to drive a tow truck, and I guess it wasn't even attached all the way. And he ended up wrecking a bunch of other cars.
Oh, you going to jail, bud?
You go to jail.
You're going to jail for a while. That's
I think that happened in New York, so
yeah, it's a Brooklyn.
They might just make him write a poem about what he did wrong and let him back out. They don't believe in jail anymore. Can you believe that?
Yeah, not for criminals, anyways.
Yeah, no, they want to put only people that disagree with them in jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what they're doing in Britain. They're letting people out of jail and then putting people in jail that say bad things about Islam on Twitter.
Yeah, right.
All right, this is the last funny story. So this is a Kia dealer. This genius decided to try to buy 2 Telluride SUVs with a fake ID. And they held them there until the police got there, and they pretended like they were going. I guess they take a picture when you buy a car for some reason.
Oh, well, sometimes, yeah, they're like, oh, congratulations, we're gonna put your face on the, new car buyers of the month or whatever, and sometimes they do that for their social media or whatnot, right? Like, hey, just sold a car to this guy to help promote the business. So they probably pulled every trick out in the book to stall. We're stalling, and finally the cops show up. Yeah.
Oh, whenever I bought a new car, I don't want them taking my pictures. Just give me my keys.
Yeah, same. I've never done anything like that either. Like, no, I just want to go. Yeah.
It's not like a big, I don't know. When you get, like, once your credit gets really good, it's really easy to buy a car. You just go in there and give them or matter of fact, I just get my financing before I even go there. And I'll just give them the paper and I'll be like, give me the keys.
Yeah, if you have money, it takes no time at all to get a car.
Yeah.
I should say no time at all. It still takes them a couple hours, so they got to do whatever they got to do. But it
takes like an hour.
Yeah, you just sit there, just tell them what you want to pay the price. You negotiate that. Okay, that's what it's going to be. Done. Get your stuff and go. But if you got to go through all this different, financing applications and whatnot, man, it really slows things down.
Exactly. So, all right. So this is a 63-year-old man. Why would he tried to buy 2 Kias at once? Who buys 2 cars at once? You think that would be a red flag?
Well, I'm sure it was. It was for this guy.
I want to buy 2 Kia SUVs at once. Like,
if you're going to steal a brand new car from a dealership, why are you getting a Kia?
Oh, should have got something better. Though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other options out there, but that would have been way better than this.
Dane says you should have bought 2 Silverados.
You should have bought 2 Chevy Silverados. Nobody would have batted an eye.
Yeah, that would have been cool. So he used the identification card of a deceased man. Now he's facing multiple charges and a $50,000 bond.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is
going to jail, bud.
You guys, if you just take your time and do things properly, you'll be able to buy a new car. It's not the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah, don't be a dirtbag.
They were valued at $158,000. Goodness
Both of them
gracious.
together. Yeah, I mean, right, probably 70 a piece, 60 something a piece.
So the dealer employees and authorities allowed Haynes to complete the entire buying process. They didn't stop at signing the paperwork. The dealer actually had Haynes pose for a congratulatory photograph
Mhm.
and video before the police swooped in.
That's
Uh, Video shows the moment with the arrest. Haynes simply says, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" As the police handcuffed him. Oh, he's now facing forgery between $60,000 and $250,000, as well as attempted theft of property between those same figures. Oh man, you too old to be acting like this, bro.
yeah,
63.
dude. Come on,
You
man,
need
get
to.
it together.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, hopefully he will learn his lesson and stay out of it. Let's see what the comments say. This
Mhm.
this guy says, "Idiot! The Kia boys pay nothing for your Kia Telluride." Yeah, the Kia boys. Kia
Yeah.
boys got their to Kia. Oh goodness, 25,000 extra fees. They definitely didn't arrest the right person or persons. They said they should have arrested the Kia dealership
Yeah,
employees.
he's definitely getting ripped off at that price for sure.
Oh gosh.
But again, they're
Oh,
probably playing games with them too. Oh, you want to add this? You want to add whatever? And the guy's like, sure, yeah, add it up, add it up.
yeah,
He thinks he's getting
yeah.
away with highway robbery. Nope.
$300 for wheel locks? Sure, whatever.
Yeah,
Give me extra wheel locks. I don't care.
yeah. Give me 3 of them. Fuck it, screw it.
This guy says missed opportunity to not place a giant red bow on the roof of the police vehicle for when they loaded the dope into the back seat. Oh gosh. Oh, this guy says 79,000 for a Telluride. They both should have been arrested. Oh goodness. All right. Well, that's what we got for you today. That is the automotive news. Thank you everybody for joining us. We're gonna, I don't know, maybe in the future once deer hunting season is over, we'll have like a set time for this.
Yeah.
Dane's got to get some deers.
I gotta put some deers in the freezer. I got a kid that's got a schedule that doesn't exist. I just kind of whenever I have time. So
Okay.
we'll try and get more consistent.
No problem. Now for you guys who never ate deer before, I never ate deer before I moved here, and then I had some of Dane's deer that he shot. It is so delicious, and it is like there's no chemicals in it or anything. So
Yeah.
if you ever get a chance, eat some deer. It's delicious.
There you go. I'm gonna go make some right now.
All right. Well, I'm jealous. All right. Well, that's what we got for you today. Thanks for tuning in and have a good one.
Yeah. See you guys next time.